title for today's webinar is Healthy Weight Management with Ayurveda. As you can see, the title has healthy weight management. It's not just weight management. So let us understand Ayurveda's very holistic perspective of what weight management is all about. The webinar is presented by Dr. Aruna Iyengar. Let me quickly give you an introduction to Satva. Satva is a tech startup. We are based in the Bay Area, California, and the mission is to make Ayurveda and Yoga globally accessible to folks. And Satva offers a platform for consultations with Ayurveda and Yoga experts, and I will talk more about that towards the end of the webinar. Let me quickly introduce Dr. Aruna here. Sorry. So Dr. Aruna Iyengar is our own VP of Wellness at Satva. She has a BAMS degree, that is Bachelor of Ayurveda Medicine and Surgery. And she also has an MSc in Biochemistry. It's a very interesting combination of the two degrees. She is a director of Atharvani Ayurveda Center in Mumbai. And she's Satva's VP of Wellness. She specializes in general health and a bunch of other issues, panchakarma, skin and hair issues, PCOD, other women issues, hypertension, diabetes, joint care, just to name a few. So without further ado, over to Dr. Aruna for today's webinar. Aruna, all yours.
Yeah, a very warm welcome to all of you. It might be morning, evening, afternoon. Yeah, whatever it is, I thank all of you for taking time and coming for the series of webinars hosted by Satva. We'll just look at a few definitions of obesity, overweight, all these things right now. So as per the Charaka Samhita, which is one of the texts of Ayurveda, it defines obesity as an excessive and abnormal increase or accumulation of adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is nothing but fat tissue along the chest, abdomen and buttocks. Why these three areas is because these three areas are not bound by any bony structure. So hence the fat tends to accumulate here and cause an increase of the mass. And as per the World Health Organization, WHO, overweight can be defined as a BMI which is more or equal to 25 and obesity with of an BMI more or equal to 30. Now what BMI is nothing but the body mass index, which is calculated based on your height and weight formula. So based on that, we have defined overweight as something of a BMI of value equal or more in more than 25, and obesity comes in a category of BMI more or equal to 30. Yeah, next. Usually we are all fed with the thought that how to manage obesity is trying to aim at becoming skinny or losing a lot of pounds or kgs, which is not actually the aim, which should not be actually the aim. It's not just about going through any crash diets, like being on just liquids or juices or only raw food, etc. And it's not about excessively working out and being harsh on oneself. Okay? It's all about trying to bring a balance, restoring a balance between two of the doshas, which I'll just be explaining what these doshas are. Mainly in obesity, we have to restore back the balance of the imbalanced vata and the increased kapha. And we also aim at trying to improving the overall metabolism of the person. Thereby, he'll be having a healthy tissue systems and not just making the kgs go down. Basically, it's an overall holistic and healthier weight management. So we'll just see one by one how we actually do it. Yeah. Next slide. So I was just mentioning about the doshas. Doshas are actually components of the body which make up the structure and functioning of the body system. If you take vata, vata is actually a combination of the air and space element among the 5 elements what we have. So it is as the elements are of vata suggest that they are responsible for any kind of movements. It could be blood circulation, it could be your thought movements, it could be your nerve signal, it could be moving your hands, your talking, everything is controlled by vata. Pitta actually governs all the metabolic functions of the body and uh, uh, converting that into usable energy by the body and mind. Kapha is actually a combination of earth and water element. So it basically aims at giving a proper build and strength to the body. And for example, kapha is very much helpful in the build of the muscles, the fat, the overall frame of the person is governed by the kapha element. Okay, yeah. So basically, a perfect balance between these three doshas makes a person healthy. Yeah. So next slide. We just look into some of the main causes of weight issues. Okay. First and foremost, I have put here is diet, and next is the lifestyle, and various diseases and treatments taken for a few other diseases. Pregnancy is one of the causes, especially in uh, female patients. So if we see diet, it's actually catering to a lot of components of diet. It's not just about the quantity of food. It's even about uh, uh, the quality and the way the food is being taken. So we'll just see about diet now. Next slide. Yeah, if at all we include more of sweet in taste foods, that it could be um, uh, uh, white sugar, it could be jaggery, or it could be milk, it could be rice, wheat. All these are sweet in taste. That is, if we include more of these foods, and or if we consume a lot of heavy to digest foods, that is, the body has a capacity to digest certain amount of foods. So if at all the body is finding it heavy to digest, it's finding it tough to digest whatever is eaten, that we label it as heavy to digest. For example, fried sweets, it could be your jamun or samosa are actually fried items, what we find in India, or even uh, you can find, you can even put meat in this category, which are all heavy to digest. Okay, and fried foods, of course, anything which is deep fried in oil. Fermented food, definitely that is, we can include any kind of bakery items. We could include cheese, paneer, or bread, biscuits. All these come under fermented foods. And even in the in India, we consume a lot of idli and dosa, which are again coming in this category. Consuming a lot of these foods, and also the timing of consuming of these foods also matter. Okay? All these imbalance the vata and increase the kapha, as I was mentioning. So, and having a lot of cold foods and drinks, that is, again, it includes a lot of junk foods which are actually not hot when we have it. So cold foods and cold drinks also imbalance the doshas. And what is viruddha ahara? Viruddha ahara is something which is incompatible to the body itself, something which is not right for the body. If we keep consuming it, is again going to imbalance the doshas and leading to overweight. And one other problem which many people have is eating between meals, that is, eating prior to the digestion of the previous meal consumed. So you might have had a heavy breakfast by 8 o'clock, and then your lunchtime would be at 1 o'clock. But in between, we have biscuits, we have something oily, we have potato chips. All these things again imbalance the vata and the increase of kapha. Okay, and of course, eating more than your required quantity, than suppose you're already feeling full, but again feeding more to the stomach also can lead to overweight problems. Yeah, next. Lifestyle, as we all have seen, there has been uh, a shift in the way people are actually living their routine lives. People are having or it's not about having, it's about not being able to make enough time for exercise and meditation, yoga, and all these things. And day sleep is a cause for overweight, in the sense that day sleep can be regarded as sleeping in the day hours, in the sunlight hours, or also sleeping beyond sunrise also is considered as day sleep. This also increases the kapha and imbalances the vata. Prolonged sitting jobs in AC rooms, okay, also can lead to overweight. Yeah. Next, we have a few diseases which actually causes an increase of weight. Okay, the one of the main issues faced by females is PCOD, that is polycystic ovarian disease or syndrome, where there is an imbalance in the production of the healthy egg cells. So here we find a hormonal imbalance in the female body, which leads to an increase in weight. So this is one issue. And we have something called hypothyroidism, where the thyroid gland, which is at the neck region, this when it is imbalanced or when it is stressed out, the gland tends to function less than its capacity. So hence the metabolism is lowered down, and hence there is accumulation of fat tissue. That is hypothyroidism. And mental stress, during mental stress, a person tends to eat more without awareness. So hence mental stress also is one of the reasons for overweight. Cushing syndrome is again a problem of the an alteration of the aldosterone hormone, which controls actually the proper accumulation of the fat tissues in the body. And when there is a disturbance in this aldosterone hormone pathway, then there is a more accumulation in the three regions what I just told: the chest, abdomen, and the buttock areas. There are a bunch of hormone treatments which people undergo, which can lead to putting on weight, unwanted weight, which is actually tough to shed also. Okay, so we need to be careful before actually undergoing many treatments. Okay, and the antidepressants also contain quite a lot of steroid based chemicals, which also tend to put on weight. Steroids also are again taken in as a oral medicine or as an injection, which also tends to put on weight. Contraceptives again are steroid hormones, which are estrogen, progesterone, etc. These also contribute to a lot of unhealthy weight in the person. The people use inhalers for relieving themselves from wheezing or asthmatic attacks. So these inhalers also have some of the inhalers have some chemicals which again contain steroids, which again put on unwanted weight. Yeah. Next. Pregnancy again. Why do people put on weight, especially in the abdomen region and the buttocks region? Is during pregnancy and prior to pregnancy, they would have missed out on exercising the body or preparing the body for pregnancy. Hence, there is a accumulation of fat deposition prior and after the delivery, and this particular abdominal fat takes a lot of time to actually get shed, if at all the person has not exercised or has not been prepared for becoming for conceiving. Postnatal negligence is after post delivery, the abdomen muscles would have actually stretched beyond its capacity. So after delivering the child, the lady should actually tie a tight cloth band around the abdomen to just bring back the elasticity of the expanded muscles of the abdomen. And IVF, there is in vitro fertilization and other hormone treatments, of course, tends to put on weight uh, uh, of the lady, especially again the abdomen and the chest region. So these are also again some causes for overweight. Yeah. So let's get into understanding the physiology of the body system, and then we'll go into the pathophysiology, or how the disease or how the problem of obesity actually manifests in the body. That is pathophysiology. Now let's understand the physiology of the uh, body system right from food, because what we eat is what we become. The food which we consume gets transformed into the first tissue, that is the lymph or the plasma, which is actually not the correct translation from the Sanskrit term or the term in Ayurveda. So we'll take it as a lymph or the plasma tissue, which is transformed from the food. So this tissue gets transformed into the blood tissue. This blood tissue gets transformed into the muscle tissue. This tissue further gets transformed into the fat or the adipose tissue. This adipose tissue gets further transformed into the bone tissue, and from the bone to the bone marrow, and from the bone marrow to the sperm and egg, and overall the vitality and the vigor of the person is actually determined by this. So basically the all the tissue systems are directly dependent on the food what we consume, okay? The quality and the quantity of the food which we consume. Now what happens, hope this is all this is clear so far. So what actually happens in a person who's actually uh, uh, experiencing overweight or obesity is that because of the causes he indulges in, there is an imbalance of the vata dosha. What I explained to you, there is a combination of air and space element, the vata, and there is an increase of kapha. And this increase of kapha, which we can see in these three areas majorly and in the overall body, this leads to an increase of appetite and the increase of fat tissue. So the pathway which we can see actually gets hampered at the fat tissue, that is at the adipose tissue. Hence the further the three tissues, that is the bone tissue, the bone marrow, and the sperm and eggs, are actually not getting enough nourishment because of the hampering of the nourishment got uh, being stopped at the adipose tissue itself. So hence a person who is obese or having overweight issues, he generally experiences uh, uh, issues of the bone, like osteoarthritis, okay, and joints tend to become loose, and we find a kind of sound crepitus when he walks or when there is when it is examined, and there is hair fall and brittle nails, again because the hair and the nails are a byproduct of the bone metabolism. So hence even the hair and the nails are also affected because of undernourished bone tissues, okay? And of course we have a lower back pain because of the mechanical pull of the abdominal fat, and also because of the bone tissues not getting enough nourishment, okay? And if at all the bone marrow is not getting enough nourishment, it leads to fatigue by just less work itself. The person tends to experience a lot of fatigue, okay? And low bone density is again experienced. The bone marrow, which is responsible for again the blood cell production, again indirectly again affects the blood tissue also. So then if you see the next tissue, that is the sperm and egg cells, when these are not getting enough nourishment, it leads to a loss of libido or the sexual energy, and infertility and other problems crop up. There is a pallor seen in the person, that is a person looks pale and also tends to lose energy. And there is a sense of lassitude, is again a person tends to feel tired just by even sitting. So this is a next form of fatigue, okay? And a person experiences dry mouth, again because of the imbalance of vata, and because of the undernourished sperm and egg cells. Yeah. So hope this is made clear. If you have any doubts, we can have it at the end in the Q&A session. Okay. Yeah. Next slide. What are the other health risks? I think in the internet, many people would have gone through a lot of uh, articles and information. The major health risks which will be mentioned are the heart issues, cardiovascular diseases, okay, or the we call it as heart blocks, okay, and there is type 2 diabetes, which is an onset of obesity, it's an outcome of obesity, I'm sorry. And stroke is again uh, getting increased day by day because of this issue. Fatty liver and gallbladder issues. Again, the liver is the main organ which actually controls the fat metabolism. This gets affected when there is excess accumulation of fat in the blood tissue. And gallbladder again, because of excess consumption of uh, oily food items, the gallbladder again tends to get uh, cholesterol stones, which is again a problem faced by many people. Hypertension or the high blood pressure is again seen in people with obesity. Sleep apnea is when a person sleeps horizontally, there is a sound being produced, and from the mouth, because he is not able to breathe normally through the nose. So because of the fat accumulation at the chest and neck region, so the person tends to snore, and at the in the morning, the person will not feel fresh because he has not breathed through the nose. Okay, so these are the other health risks. Yeah, so the next slide. The treatment or the way we look at uh, uh, treating overweight or obesity actually caters to both the visible and the invisible fat. Okay, I think the cholesterol has been a buzzword for quite a few years, uh, especially because especially after the internet has um, come. Everybody gets scared of the word cholesterol. Cholesterol actually is a very major, important, essential component of the body system. Every cell is made up of a huge amount of uh, fat molecules. Okay, so in the blood we find a lot of moving fat, or we can call it as an invisible fat, which are the HDLs, or the high density lipoproteins, low density lipoproteins, or the very low density lipoproteins, or the triglycerides, which are moving in the blood system, blood tissue. Okay, these actually are nourishing the other various tissues and organs, which when increased actually can cause a problem in the person's health. Uh, so we cater to actually removing or to balance out the invisible fat, and of course the visible fat, which everybody can actually see it visibly, is the accumulation of more of fat and muscle tissue in the chest, abdomen, and buttocks. Again, as I just told you, I'll just repeat it. Why these three places have been mentioned in Ayurveda is that there are no bony structures actually stopping the further accumulation of fat. So hence abdomen has absolutely no bony structure. The fat tends to accumulate there in the chest region and in the uh, buttocks region also. Okay, so this is the visible fat or the immobile fat. Okay, so we cater to actually working on both the invisible and the visible fat. Yeah, next slide. So let's look at some of the tips or some of the diet changes which we can actually do in our routine. Okay, drinking warm or hot water throughout the day. Whenever a person feels thirsty, try to sip a few sips of hot water. That will always help in balancing out the imbalanced vata. Okay, and a proper appetite will be resumed. And the consuming of barley is again a grain which can be used consumed in various forms. It can be consumed in the form of barley water, that is we need to soak 1 tablespoon of barley grains in water overnight, and the next day morning we need to boil the barley containing water and have the water. This is one way of having barley. We also can prepare a lot of other uh, food items, food recipes using barley. Clarified butter is always a very good option to include in the daily diet. That is nothing but the ghee, or the which we all call in English, or the clarified butter, which will again improve the uh, metabolism of the person and helps to digest whatever has been consumed. Okay? And consuming buttermilk instead of yogurt or curd is again a good option. We can add ginger also, again to improve the um, uh, capacity to digest whatever has been consumed. So ginger aids in that. Buttermilk again tends to has a property of decreasing the increased kapha or the increasing fat. Turmeric is again a herb which has gained a lot of international recognition. Turmeric, I think everybody knows, is again a stem which is used widely in most of our Indian dishes. This also helps in balancing out the increased kapha. And try to avoid all the junk foods, that is the burgers and the pizzas, and especially fried sweets and sweets made up of white sugar and the white flour, that is maida. uh, uh, all these again tend to imbalance the doshas and the tissue uh, uh, formations. Okay. Again, vitamin C is a very good option to include in the diet. We can include as much amount of vitamin C as we want, because it is water soluble and it contains a huge amount of antioxidants, especially the Indian gooseberry or the amla. This again helps in restoring back the good appetite, the improved appetite, and the appropriate appetite to a person. So vitamin C helps in many things. Okay. And also, in case a person has gallbladder issues, even vitamin C helps in restoring back the health of the gallbladder. And it is always better to replace heavy to digest big meals to small, light to digest many meals in the day. Like you can have like 5 to 6 small light to digest meals rather than having 2 or 3 big heavy to digest meals. So this is one option which we can adopt. Yeah. Some tips to regarding lifestyle is, as I told you, day sleep again tends to increase the kapha in the body. So waking up 1 hour or half an hour prior to sunrise again brings a lot of balance in the doshas and the overall health of the person. And making time for regular yoga or exercise and pranayama, of course, is a must. I should say it's not an option. We need to adopt this for maintaining the proper health of the body system and the mind system. Then we usually a person who tends to use his brain less, or he has a job which is only to sit, then a person also tends to put on weight at in his body. So we need to increase the brain usage. That is, a person, if at all he needs to just sit for a long time, which is his job, he can indulge into some activities which will use the brain energy. The brain uses a lot of glucose, and hence there is a burning out of calories. Okay, like he can start solving some puzzles or something in his uh, time. Okay, so brain usage again tends to improve the uh, tends to decrease the unwanted kapha in the person. Okay? And last is actually the patience. um, uh, Generally a person would have worked very hard to actually put on weight, but he wants to lose weight in 1 week or in 1 month. So which is why everybody is going towards crash diet, and they want a pill, and they want to become they want to lose weight the next day itself. So that doesn't happen, because we need to work hard again to balance out the doshas and work towards a healthy buildup of the uh, tissues, and thereby losing the excess weight. Yeah. So in Ayurveda, we have some customized treatments for each person. Yeah. So first and foremost is the Panchakarma techniques, therapies, where in Panchakarma we aim at removing the toxins which have been accumulated because of the causes which the person has indulged into. Okay. So we have a few therapies which we can use for helping a person from overweight and obesity. That is, Virechana is actually controlled purgation, where we give medicines orally, and here in Virechana uh, we can say that the invisible fat, that is what I mentioned about the HDL, LDL, all these actually. Uh, we actually make the body to uh, cleanse out all this excess cholesterol which is flowing in the blood tissue, coming to the main gut, and then it will be flushed out on the last day. So that is virechana. Okay. And the other therapies are um, Lekana Basti is actually enemas. Enemas are again giving medicines anally. We can of course include a lot of herbs which are made into decoctions, which will again tend to decrease the kapha and balance out the vata in the person. So these bastis or these enemas play a main role in our treatments. And we have something called Udvartanam. Udvartana is nothing but a dry powder massage using particular herbal mixtures, where we don't add oil nor water. The dry powder is actually taken and massaged over the areas where a person wants to shed out the subcutaneous fat. Okay. It could be just the abdomen, a person wants to just lose weight. Okay. Whereas the other parts of the body might be in shape, but the person is conscious about only the abdominal fat. So we can use Udvartana only for the abdomen or for the whole body if needed. So basically, the we have particular strokes of by which we use the powder massage to shed out the subcutaneous fat. That is the fat which has been deposited just beneath the skin. And in Ayurveda, we have very interesting subject called marma, which is actually vital energy points in the body, which when activated, again improves the overall health of the person. And we have a few points, like for example, we have something called Indrabasti marma point, which is in the forearm, which actually controls the working of the abdominal area. So thereby we can again improve the person's appetite, and rather we can balance out the person's appetite and bring the vata and kapha into balance by activating these marma points. And Abhyanga is a full body oil massage. I just talked about dry powder massage. Now you might be wondering why I'm telling oil massage. Full body oil massage followed by a steam or a hot water bath. Of course, what it does is it will improve the strength of the bones, the muscles, the ligaments, tendons, which makes a person fit for performing exercise and yoga. Okay, so the person gains strength to do exercise. So he needs to take advantage of the strength given to muscles and bones and tendons and ligaments, and he needs to indulge in exercise and yoga to actually control his to manage his weight, excess weight. Okay. Pranayama again is a and yoga are can be best dealt by we have experts on of yoga and of yoga and meditation on our panel, so we can also ask them directly, or we have a few asanas particularly for uh, overweight, and pranayama of course helps in overall energy uh, balancing of the person. Okay. Yeah. Next.
For those of you who are interested to get a personal one-on-one session with Dr. Aruna, she's available on the Satva platform. These are the QR codes both for Android and iOS. Feel free to download the app on your phone, and please feel free to also visit our website. You can check out a whole bunch of resources we have on our website, satva.ai. We have blogs, we have discussion forums. So we'd love to get your engagement and participation. Also, any ideas on other topics of webinars. So please feel free to engage with us.
Great.
Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for attending. And thank you, Dr. Aruna, for this wonderful webinar. It was very helpful and a lot of great insights. So thank you everyone for joining us. And we'll keep you posted about our upcoming webinars and hope to see you all again. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.